In late 2019, the London Festival of Architecture ran a competition for emerging architects to design a bench which could offer a fun and creative place to sit, rest and play along the Royal Docks waterfront. We asked each designer to tell us a little bit about their bench. Here, Steve McCloy and McCloy Muchemwa tell us about their bench. The Buoys are back in town.
I'm Steve McCloy. I'm a co-founder of McCloy Muchemwa.
I'm McCloy Muchemwa. People call me Bo. And I'm the other half of McCloy Muchemwa.
Our bench is called The Buoys Are Back in Town because it's made out of buoys. We're kind of preoccupied with trying to do experiments with like spatial experiments. We love the idea that by flipping perceptions about ordinary objects such as the buoys that we saw in the docks, we can jolt you out of what you're expecting from those objects and start to provoke ideas and maybe a bit of wonder.
I think the idea of collaging a simple object that can be found on the street, maybe on the water, into making them into something else is sort of kind of been intriguing.
We want to jolt people out of their everyday expected journey. So as you're walking, you expect to see benches, you expect to see trees, you expect to see pavement. We want something that's initially a surprise and then changes your perception. We also want to attract people with, a shock of a bright color or a different type of material that they're not used to seeing suddenly becomes a bench. And then that also relates to how we think about architecture. We don't want everything to always be as you expected. We want things to have a notion of surprise and change. When we were designing the bench, we designed it with the computer, but we also made some physical models. We made models with tennis balls to see if they would float. We tested it if it would float in the sink. But we knew when it came time to enter the competition that we would enter the competition with comic book style drawings. So they were hand drawn. They had lots of detailed people having detailed activities there. We documented the kind of conversations that we'd hoped would happen. And the reason for that is not just to produce an image or a drawing for the competition, but it was to try and push comic book style fun and comic book style kind of imaginative inhabitation in an imaginative way that people will use objects.
Yeah, I think play should be part of sort of public sphere. It's one of the things that maybe isn't explored too much.
Yeah, we manufactured the bench ourselves with very low-tech kind of accessible tooling, very simple processes that we could understand, that we could manage between two people. And all of that was kind of a great process for us to learn more about product design and more about manufacturing and fabrication. With the buoys, we like the idea of integrating them because then when you're making things that are temporary, there's an association with waste. But if you just borrow something, it's neither recycled nor reused. It was just borrowed. And so as long as it's not damaged, there's theoretically very, almost zero carbon impact. Our bench design is flexible in that at the end of its life, it can either be a bench again in a different location, or the buoys themselves can be reused by the local boat club, or the other option is that our bench is actually fully capable of floating. It's been engineered so that it's a not only land-based bench, but it can also be an aquatic infrastructure. For us, it's really interesting to do competitions which are going to be for real projects in the public space, because usually for a young architect, a lot of the work will be private residential and it never gets seen by the people we really want to share our enthusiasm and our skills with, which is the wider public. It's so important with the things that London Festival of Architecture does.
To find out more about the benches in the London Festival of Architecture, head to lfa.london/pews.